let's discuss the movie Red Garters. Hi, welcome to my channel, Garage Geek, and this is 100 Movies, $100. And today we're going to be discussing the movie Red Garters. Now, Red Garters is a 1954 Western musical that is a spoof of Westerns. Now, it was nominated for one Academy Award for Best Art Direction, Set Decoration, Color. And we're going to talk a little bit more about why that is important in a little while. It was directed by George Marshall. Now, George Marshall had a 6-decade career in the movies. He's largely overlooked. He was often sought out for comedies. The plot is pretty insignificant, but it's basically a Western where two couples are coming together, right? And it's going to involve hangings and gunfights and a lot of musical numbers and bars. It stars Rosemary Clooney. And this movie was in 1954 and it actually came out a few months before her most famous role, which is in White Christmas. Now, looking up Rosemary Clooney's career, I thought she was going to have a lot more movies, but it's just not the case. In addition to Rosemary Clooney, there's also Jack Carson. Now, he's often played the comedic friend in movies, but he starred in some very famous ones such as Mildred Pierce and Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. Now, the third major player in this movie is Guy Mitchell. Now, Guy Mitchell is an American pop singer and actor, and he sold over 44 million records. Now, this movie has a lot of other people in small roles, and you're going to recognize a few of them. One that we can point out is Buddy Ebsen, who would go on to be the father in Beverly Hillbillies. So let's watch this scene of him bar top dancing. Now, if you actually go and watch the whole scene in the movie, he's actually quite good and funny. He uses his very limber body to do some kind of interesting dance moves up on top of the bar. I recommend it. See if you can find it on YouTube. But I have to say that a few of the minor actors in this movie have racially problematic roles, especially one woman who I believe is wearing brown body paint. And so if you're at all sensitive to those kind of typical ways that different races were portrayed, this movie is probably not going to be for you. Let's go ahead and talk about the set design of this movie, because it is very different from most musicals. Now, this musical is filmed as if it were on a set, and it kind of reminded me that way of Jesus Christ Superstar, because I don't know if you've ever seen that, how at the beginning of the movie they start the movie by building the set and then they sing around the sets. So this is kind of the same thing. You come in and everything looks fake. It looks like it's on a set. And I'll admit, at the beginning it's very, very pretty. And I also liked the way that they changed the colors of the backdrop. And so I'm going to take this opportunity to mention that, unfortunately, I had a full screen copy of this. So what does that mean, right? It wasn't widescreen. I believe this movie was originally in widescreen, and so I got the cut screen format. Now, I was watching this movie carefully, and except for there was about 3 or 4 scenes where I think the widescreen would have really, really worked well. Many of the numbers are musicals where they're close up and it's like 1 or 2 people singing. And so I don't think that having a full screen version of the movie was that bad. But remember, there's always that argument that watching a full screen version of a movie is not what the director intended, and you're actually watching a different movie. And I totally understand that argument. Back to the set design. First off, the costumes in this are beautiful, and I guess the costumes were done by Edith Head. And the sets, I think, are very nice, even though they're sparse. I really liked it. But I guess for the time, it was really weird to stage a movie like a play. Because, right, people, I think at the time, they were struggling to get people back into movie theaters because of television. And so you would want these widescreen spectacles. And here you have a movie that is eschewing all that. I think that's really interesting. A really interesting artistic choice. This is a musical, and there's a lot of musical numbers. Most of them are okay. The dancing is fine. Nothing like the barn raising scene in Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, which is spectacular. But you do get a lot of ensemble dances where people are in lines and they're doing different kinds of dances, and then you have a lot of like rodeo style dancing, and they're all fine. The musical numbers are also just that. They're okay. There are some catchy tunes. My favorite is one that comes near the end of the movie. It's called Brave Man. And Rosemary Clooney is sitting at a barroom table. There's no one else in the bar. The mood is red and a little bit subdued. And she smokes a cigarette. She smokes a cigarette. And after she's done, she drinks a shot of whiskey. All the while the camera is moving in on her. And she captures the scene. She holds your attention through her singing. And I think it's so effective because she's seated and we're drawn in. In many of the musical numbers, she's dancing and moving around, but I think she's very effective in this scene. And also, I think the song is really nice. So again, if you want to look up this, it is on YouTube, right? But it looks like it was recorded from television. It's not a very good way to watch this scene. Do I recommend this movie? I actually don't. So this, I would say, is a 5 out of 10. Unfortunately, I love musicals. I absolutely love them. But besides the sets and the costumes, I don't think this has much to offer. If you are a musical aficionado, you should definitely watch it. If you're interested in the careers of any of the actors in this movie, then you should definitely watch it. But I wouldn't say, hey, this is an amazing movie that you need to run out and buy and watch this. You'll be disappointed, and I would be lying. I'm glad I watched it. I would like to hunt down the soundtrack so that I could listen to it again or on multiple listens. But ultimately, it's a spoof of a Western, and I just think it falls a little flat. If you love Westerns, you might, they are really making fun of all the plots of Western movies. And if you're into spoofs, then you might enjoy this. But unfortunately, I can't give this a really high rating. If you enjoyed this review, would you please go ahead, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. If you disagree, if you've seen this movie and you really like it, please put why in the comments. And thank you for your support. I hope you'll go ahead and watch one of my other movie reviews in this 100 Movies $100 series.